Tonight, frozen. Millions of Americans this weekend feeling a new rush of Arctic air. Heavy snow, punishing winds, and dangerous cold sweeping from the Rockies into the Midwest.
I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak tracking the chilly wintry weather and a new threat for the Pacific Northwest.
Also tonight, immigration crackdown, fear and frustration in New Orleans after masked agents chase a U.S. citizen. In Minnesota, shackled detainees flown out of state. We'll have the latest.
I'm Allie Bauman in New York, where advocates are demanding to know the whereabouts of this 6-year-old boy who was separated from his father after being detained by ICE.
Massive attack. Russia hits Ukraine with hundreds of drones and missiles.
I'm Holly Williams in Lviv. The White House is trying to broker a peace deal, but many Ukrainians are skeptical that Vladimir Putin really wants to end the war.
In Bethlehem, a Christmas tradition returns after 2 years of war. All that, plus artificial or natural, Americans make their choice for real.
I'm Andres Gutierrez in Los Angeles with what's driving the demand for real Christmas trees this year.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Saturday. Forget cold snap. It's bone chilling in large parts of the country tonight. Iowa is feeling it, and this is what it looked like if you stepped outside today. But the freezing temperatures, heavy snow, and fierce winds are being felt well beyond the Midwest. CBS News meteorologist Andrew Kozak in Philadelphia leads us off tonight, tracking it all.
Yeah, good evening, Jerika. Tonight we begin across the midsection of the country where millions of Americans will continue to see snow and cold. Reduced visibilities down to near zero across Iowa over towards Chicago. We could have an additional 4 to 8 inches of snow before the weekend is up. And we expand that view out. It's the Rockies, the Pacific Northwest, and even the Great Lakes in New England that will get another shot of snow as we begin the week ahead. And the cold temperatures, they're going to keep that snow on the ground, especially across the northern tier. Could feel like 3 below zero tomorrow up toward Bismarck, North Dakota. And while it looks like it thaws out just a little bit by Tuesday, Wednesday brings us yet another shot of cold air across the north. Now let's pivot to the Pacific Northwest, where we have excessive rainfall that will once again begin along the atmospheric river, moving into areas like Seattle and Portland. We could be looking at storm system after storm system slamming across the upper northwest areas and flooding, especially river flooding, urban flooding, and small street flooding, going to be a big issue for the week ahead. Sunday, that atmospheric river begins while the midsection of the country deals with some cold and warm air as we head toward the south. Jerika?
Good to know, Andrew Kozak. Thank you. Tonight, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is doubling down on U.S. military strikes on suspected drug boats, saying President Trump can take decisive military action as he sees it. But at the White House this evening, President Trump is focused on the Kennedy Center honorees, giving medals to recipients Gloria Gaynor, George Strait, Sylvester Stallone, Michael Crawford, and the rock band Kiss. CBS's Willie James Enman is there with new reporting on all of it. Willie James.
Jerika, good evening to you. While the president celebrates the Kennedy Center honorees tonight, his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is facing 2 separate controversies.
During a speech in California, Secretary Hegseth stood by the Trump administration's strikes on alleged drug smugglers. Since September, there have been more than 20 strikes on boats allegedly transporting drugs.
We've been clear, if you're working for a designated terrorist organization and you bring drugs to this country in a boat, we will find you and we will sink you.
Hegseth's remarks come days after lawmakers demanded details on an alleged drug boat strike in early September. This video shows the first strike on the boat, but a separate video showing a second strike that killed 2 survivors has not been released. Some lawmakers briefed Thursday by military officials on Capitol Hill questioned the legality, noting that laws protecting wounded combatants may have been violated.
What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service.
But military officials maintain the survivors were trying to salvage the drugs and transport them.
President Trump can and will take decisive military action as he sees fit.
Also this week, a government watchdog report found that Hegseth violated Pentagon rules and could have endangered troops earlier this year. He shared details about a strike on Houthi rebels in a Signal group chat, which mistakenly included a journalist. Hegseth responded to the report on social media saying total exoneration and case closed.
And Jerika, on Sunday night, President Trump will be the first president to serve as host of the Kennedy Center Honors after his handpicked board of trustees appointed him chairman earlier this year.
Willie James Inman at the White House, thank you. Tonight, rising tensions in New Orleans as the immigration crackdown by federal agents escalates. Residents in the city shouted and honked horns as Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavina walked through a neighborhood knocking on doors. ICE actions are also making headlines in other cities. CBS's Allie Bauman is in New York with more on that part of the story. Allie.
Good evening, Jerika. Immigration enforcement is escalating in Minneapolis. Its mayor signed an executive order this week barring agents from conducting ICE operations on all city-owned property. People in this Minneapolis neighborhood took to the streets with whistles to confront what they believed were federal immigration agents in vehicles near a local school.
I feel that my presence as a neighbor is important, and I want kids to feel safe.
ICE began conducting enhanced operations in Minnesota this week, focused primarily on the city's Somali residents. Shackled detainees were loaded on a charter jet and sent to Omaha, Nebraska, according to the Minnesota Star-Tribune.
Leave me alone!
In New Orleans, Louisiana, fear and frustration after masked ICE agents chased a U.S. citizen to her home.
I immediately started telling him, I'm born and raised here, I'm a U.S. citizen. And he did not care at all.
And there are mounting questions tonight in New York City about the whereabouts of first grader Yaoshin Zhang. He was separated from his migrant father last week when they reported to a scheduled immigration hearing. Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani.
A 6-year-old boy who was enrolled at PS 166Q was since detained and separated from his father, and we still don't know his location.
A Homeland Security spokesperson tells CBS News the father was acting so disruptive and aggressive that he endangered the child's well-being. And the Department of Homeland Security says that family was given an order of removal and that 6-year-old is now with the Office of Refugee Resettlement, but did not disclose exactly where. Jerika?
Allie Bauman in New York, thank you. Tonight, it appears that Ukraine is set to enter its 4th winter of war, even as the Trump administration pushes for peace terms with Russia. Negotiators met again in Miami today, even as Russia appears to maintain its hardline demands and its attacks. CBS's Holly Williams in Lviv, Ukraine, has the very latest.
Good evening. There were Russian strikes across Ukraine overnight, again targeting this country's energy infrastructure. That means another winter with power outages for Ukrainians as Vladimir Putin tries to crush their resolve.
Russia hit a railway hub near Kyiv overnight, as well as the village of Novi Petrivtsi, around 400 miles from the front line. We don't know why the Russians targeted a small warehouse and a home. Some local residents do know what they think of President Trump's peace plan. Mr. Trump needs to hear us that he is being deceived, said Olena Komik. You can't bargain with Russia, but President Trump's negotiators are trying. His special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, went to Moscow this past week.
So pleased to see you.
Despite a 5-hour meeting with Vladimir Putin, they left without an agreement. Putin doesn't look or sound like a man who wants to make peace. His troops are slowly gaining ground on the battlefield, and he's tied his political legacy to this war, despite Russian casualties thought to number over 1 million. Ukraine is paying a steep price for its resistance.
How did you get so good so quickly?
At the Unbroken mental health clinic, they treat Ukrainian military veterans, many of them suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Dr. Ole Berezyuk is the clinic's director.
What would you like Americans to understand about this war and its impact on Ukrainians?
This is the war for freedom. We must survive and win because we people who are free people and want to have a freedom. We are truly asking, please help. Next time we will help you.
Ukrainians tell us they desperately want this war to stop. But Jerika, many are opposed to a peace deal that's imposed on them by the US, that forces them to hand over parts of their country to Russia, and that wouldn't protect them from any future attack by Vladimir Putin.
The hardships of war. Holly Williams, thank you. Tonight, Christmas celebrations have returned to the occupied West Bank city of Bethlehem after 2 years of war in Gaza. CBS's MTS Tayeb is there with more on the festivities and hope for economic recovery.
Jerika, good evening. Well, the mood here in Manger Square is frankly electric as the tree was lit up and the crowd just burst into cheers. But for 2 years, Christmas was effectively canceled here as the war in Gaza raged on. And while a U.S. brokered ceasefire has not entirely ended the violence there or here in the West Bank, Palestinian Christians say they see hope in celebrating. But beneath the lights and the ornaments, there's another grim reality here. Bethlehem's almost entirely tourism-dependent economy is near collapse after years with few visitors or Christian pilgrims. Still, Palestinians here tell us their faith is stronger than ever, Jerika, and that Christmas is back here in Bethlehem.
All right, MTS Tayeb, thank you. With 19 days to go until Christmas, the rush is on to get ready. That includes finding just the right tree. CBS's Andres Gutierrez in Los Angeles has more on that very important search. Andres.
Good evening, Jerika. It is quite busy out here this weekend. A lot of people will be putting up their Christmas tree, and this season, a real tree may be the better bargain. The holiday rush is on at Holt Family Christmas Trees in Los Angeles.
We like this one.
All in search for the perfect pine, fir, or spruce to decorate their home. How much you pay for it this year?
What
was it, $195?
$199.95 to be exact.
Americans are expected to buy roughly 25 to 30 million real Christmas trees this year. The average price is $80 to $100. The Real Christmas Tree Board says that's about the same as last year.
We try to provide something for everybody. So we have some trees cost less, some trees cost more. I haven't had any problem with pricing.
The tree board says higher prices for artificial trees is driving demand. Most are made overseas, and tariffs can tack on, according to the National Tree Company, an average of $10 to $15 to the price tag. Most of the trees at the Holt lot come from Oregon, which, like all trees from North America, including Canada, are exempt from tariffs. Why go for the real deal?
One, the smell. Two, the tradition and the ritual of shopping for a tree. My whole life, I always had real trees, and it's like such a special Christmas memory.
And the Trump administration says in order to make Christmas affordable again, anyone who wants to cut down their own tree on federal lands can do so for just a single $1 through the end of January. Jerika?
All right, Andres Gutierrez, thank you. The Trump administration has changed its policy on when you can visit national parks for free. Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth have been removed. June 14th, which is both Flag Day and President Trump's birthday, will now be included. Straight ahead on the CBS Weekend News, the untimely death of a noted NASCAR driver. But first, this story.
A big change, not to the barrel, but to a bottle of wine. I'm Joy Benedict with more on the newest trend on store shelves.
Just in time for those holiday parties, there's a new way to serve wine. As CBS's Joy Benedict reports from King City, California, one winery is going green with a push towards paper bottles.
From the vine to the glass, California is known for its grapes, but how they're served and sealed is changing. One winery in the Central Coast is now bottling wine without a bottle at all.
Just looks like 2 pieces of cardboard.
That's right, and that's exactly what it is, recycled cardboard at that.
Shannon Valadares is with the Monterey Wine Company, the only place in the United States with a frugal pack machine used to create paper wine bottles.
It's better for the environment. It reduces the carbon footprint by 6 times that of glass.
I thought glass was recyclable.
It is, but the production of the glass is actually quite intense. This paper bottle, even the water needed in producing this bottle is 1/4 of that needed to make a glass bottle.
The machine takes a flat piece of colored cardboard, pinches, folds, and molds it into a bottle that's 5 times lighter than glass. A recyclable bag sits inside to hold whatever liquid pleasure you prefer.
Just swirl it a little bit and give you a sniff.
Smells like wine.
That's right.
Making sure it has legs is Quality Control Director Rohit Deshpande.
Do you taste any paper in there?
No, I don't taste any paper and I don't taste any plastic.
He's been testing the limits of this more affordable bottle for months to make sure it holds its flavor.
So how long do you think it can last in a paper bottle?
Definitely in excess of 15 to 18 months in a bottle. It will certainly last, which is very much the gold standard.
The winery can make 2.5 million paper bottles a year, but it's not trying to replace glass.
You're not going to age this and put it in your wine cellar, so that would be your limitation.
While the concept of a paper wine bottle may resemble that of a boxed wine, Valadares believes its shape sets it apart.
This actually allows you to be right on the shelf and really compete with some of the higher level wines.
High end with a lower impact on the environment, uncorking a greener future for wine lovers. Joy Benedict, CBS News, King City, California.
What a great idea. Well, still ahead on the CBS Weekend News, we'll meet the man who's given new meaning to the term globetrotter. Now to more of our top stories in tonight's Weekend News Roundup. Former NASCAR driver Michael Annett has died at age 39. Annett made more than 400 NASCAR National Series starts over a 13-year career. He retired at the end of the 2021 season. No cause of death has been announced. Well, here at CBS tonight, we are remembering a former colleague. Ed Rabel came to CBS News in 1966 as a correspondent. He was the last reporter to interview Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He later reported from Vietnam, Cuba, and countless places all around the world. After a long career in journalism, he became a teacher. Ed Rabel died in Virginia this week. He was 86. Today, the Vatican returned 62 artifacts to indigenous people from Canada. The items, including an Inuit sealskin kayak, arrived in Montreal aboard a specially outfitted Air Canada jet. The Vatican's collection of indigenous artifacts has been a source of controversy for the church as they were taken during colonial periods. Next on the CBS Weekend News, a groundbreaking walk is about to come full circle. But first, a look back at this day in history.
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
It will be an honor, sir.
I, Gerald R. Ford, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
Tonight with a story we just couldn't walk away from. In tonight's Weekend Journal, CBS's Ramy Inocencio introduces us to a man who set out to walk around the world. 27 years later, he's now nearing the home stretch.
Since Carl Bushby started walking non-stop across the planet in 1998, the world has changed. But human kindness, he says, has not, since his first few days on the road in Chile.
These indigenous folks just brought me in, that sat me down, put plates of food in front of me, found nothing but the best in those 27 years, which has just been remarkable.
In that time, Bushby has walked about 30,000 miles, traversing up the Americas, across the U.S. to Russia, then Asia, and now Europe. Why?
Our lives are short, and I've always wanted to live it to the fullest that I can.
One of the scariest things happened early on. In 2000, he crossed the dangerous Darien Gap.
Through the middle of a war zone, and there's a whole layer above that of cartels and drug plantations.
He later traversed the Bering Strait from Alaska to Siberia.
You're in a very serious world that will kill you in 20 minutes.
Physical challenges aside, Bushby says there were emotional ones too.
Fell in love twice, lost both of them, circumstances.
Technological adaptations were needed as well. In 2013, he bought his first touchscreen device.
What's the lesson you want to share?
Don't be afraid. Get off the couch. Get out of bed. Make it happen.
Perhaps the world's ultimate globetrotter, reminding us that life isn't about our destination, but about our journey. Ramy Inocencio, CBS News, London.
It is always about the journey. Well, that is the CBS Weekend News for this Saturday. Tomorrow on Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan's guests include Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I'm Jerika Duncan in New York. Have a great night, and we hope to see you here tomorrow.